You are listening to OSC Talk here on the OSC Podcast Network. I am Ryan Rivera. And as always, want to say thank you for taking the time to give us a listen here on the OSC Podcast Network, whether it's via Apple Podcasts or on our YouTube channel. Please subscribe, comment, leave ratings. Any feedback whatsoever is much appreciated to help us give you the best possible content. So we're going to be dropping part 2 of my conversation with family member of the show, Jason Rivera, my younger brother. We talked basketball sneakers for a couple of hours. Part 1 is available right now on the OSC Podcast Network on Apple Podcasts or the YouTube channel. And here in part 2, we discuss 10 of some of the most iconic dunks in NBA history, the footwear that was involved. The conversation went many ways, but it stayed centered and revolved around basketball sneakers. That's what we're here to talk about. And so I'll catch you guys on the other end of this episode, and hope you guys enjoy it. Some of the nastiest dunks in the NBA, whether it be in-game or dunk contest, and pretty interesting to see what people were wearing during some of these infamous dunks. One of the first ones you pointed out was the Derrick Rose one over Goran Dragic, where he was wearing the Adidas D Rose 1. Dude, man, you forget how explosive D Rose was before the injuries.
It's not even not just that one dunk, but I mean you can look up a whole mixtape of him before the injury, and he was doing all kinds of things. I remember there was one YouTube I saw. There came down to a fast break, and this dude, I swear, even the commentator was like, "This is your point guard jumping up this high."
And that dunk that he did on Goran Dragic, I didn't think of, I couldn't picture it when you first mentioned it, and then I YouTubed it, and it's easily his most famous dunk ever, where it looked like he bounced off the rim.
And then he cocks it back. And two hands it over him. And it was, whenever I go look up tapes, I go look up that, for him, because it was crazy. He was just becoming. I don't know if he was becoming a star at that point in time, but I'm sure he was getting talked about.
And you have to think, the Adidas D Rose 1. This is before Boost.
Yeah.
So you wonder if Boost would have helped. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the injuries that he suffered were more, because of the way he cut and stuff like that. I don't know if the Boost cushioning would have helped out.
I don't think any kind of cushioning would have helped out. I don't think any kind of shoe, whether it was, a lot of people always said if he was a Nike that would never happen. That's not the truth. I mean, I think the way he plays, if you just watch him compared to anybody else, you can probably compare him to Russell, but the way he plays, he's so explosive that I think no matter what he was wearing, the way he landed and tried to come off of that, because I remember he did it in the playoffs. I believe it was round 1, and he was going down the lane, and he hop steps into his layup, and he just went down from there. But my thing with him, I just think he's just an explosive player. He's using all kind of force to lift off from the floor. There's only so much your body can take. I think that's what it is. I think he's so explosive. He does everything really hard. Eventually, something was going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think the brand of the shoe matters either, unless we're talking a real shitty brand, like Hakeem when he was wearing Spalding. I don't know how he survived those shoes. Because, I mean, look at KD. He's had plenty of injuries. And he's wearing Nikes. So I don't think it matters. I think you're absolutely right. I think it's the type of player that he is.
Yeah.
Then back then, he was wearing the... and Steph Curry does it, too, where he wears that additional shit for his ankles.
It's like a plastic guard.
I know it's been a minute since you've delved into what's the
athletic
word?
Training world.
Athletic. There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, so you know some shit about that.
Yeah, he had a plastic. I think he wears his might be different from what I'm used to, but we just mess with a simple plastic piece. You put it's two pieces on one each side of your ankle, and then you wrap it up. With Velcro or with the shoestring. Doesn't matter however they want to do it. I'm pretty sure there's a little more high end. A little bit different material, probably even stronger material to keep their ankles from actually rolling over.
So, we've been mentioning it throughout our conversation a couple of times, we're both low cut sneaker guys. Did you think it was odd for low cuts to start becoming more popular in basketball? There's talk out there, amongst sneakerheads, I guess, who argue about what's better for on court, whether it's a high top or a low cut. And I guess there's no real hard evidence to support a high top is better, but I don't know. When you think about it, with the way that your ankle can roll, I don't know. What's your take on that?
I don't think it matters what you're gonna wear. If your ankle's gonna roll, it's gonna roll.
No matter what, huh?
I don't think it matters what kind of shoe. If you're wearing a high top or low top, it don't matter. I think that's part of why Kobe had his 9s the way they were designed. Because I think they were just trying to help him out with his ankle and keep his ankles, as secure as possible. I think it doesn't matter. I think it was ankle. It was his Achilles, but still, they're trying to protect it as best as possible. I think no matter what, the right force is gonna do something.
When was the last time you hooped, and what was you wearing?
I wear the Kobe 6s.
Okay, so you can hoop in a low cut.
I'm fine.
I don't know if I could.
It depends
not that I hoop, but
it depends on the player, because most of those shoes are based on whatever position you're going to be playing.
Okay, right.
A lot of it is based off of that. A lot of it
and and your body type.
Yeah, I mean your body type, because if you're a bigger player, they want you to wear Air Maxes, and more of your centers and whatnot. Your power forward is going to be wearing high tops. You're not going to be wearing low tops. Right. Actually, I want to say from the 3 down, you're probably going to be wearing high tops. And then the 2 and 1 positions, you're probably going to be wearing low tops. I mean, let's think about it. Kobe was wearing low tops towards the end. Jordan was small. No, he was a shooting guard, but I think he was
pretty big though.
Yeah, he was pretty big for his position. So I think he was wearing high tops mostly. Most of the point guards that I know of were, I guess you can say, mid to a low. I think it's preference. I prefer low cut because my feet feel free, and I don't feel like it's being restricted or anything like that. That's my feeling to it.
We can't go talking nasty in-game dunks without mentioning DeAndre Jordan over Brandon Knight, and DeAndre wearing the Under Armour Spine Bionic.
Something I was shocked about.
I knew it was an Under Armour shoe. I'm laughing more about the name of the shoe. I mean, that sounds like an experiment gone wrong right there. The Spine Bionic.
It doesn't look good either. So let's just
I wonder why
that out there.
I wonder why Under Armour never made a run for DeAndre Jordan on a signature level. Like he was a pretty,
not back in the day though. I think he just now became big.
Well, around this time where he was, especially during this time when he dunked over Brandon Knight. I mean, Lob City was on and popping during that time.
I mean, it was, but you still gotta have the name behind the players. I mean, his name wasn't well known. I still don't think it's well known. He's not a household name.
Think he would have been had he gone to the Dallas Mavericks? Which, let me be clear, I don't think it would have done anything for Dallas per se. Matter of fact, I'll even go a step further. I bet by now he would have been traded, because you got to think he was going to be coming with a hefty price tag.
No, he was already getting the max deal.
Yeah, he was going to get
the max.
He's going to get the max. I guarantee 2-3 seasons, and we would have got rid of him.
It depends on how they play. I think he wanted to be. The reason why he wanted to go to Dallas, he wanted to be the focal point. He wanted to be number 2. I don't think he wanted to be number 1. He wanted to be number 2. And I just think he realized that he's better suited as a 3.
Man, supposedly Dallas has got this hot rookie. You probably know his name.
Dennis
Smith.
Dennis Smith. So I think he's signed with Nike, I think.
So we're going to definitely have to catch a couple of
those. No, we got to. I think he's going to be
patented third level front row games. Yeah. $15-$20 a ticket.
$15-$20 seats. Those are pretty good.
I mean, it's the best ticket in the house, man.
And as you can see everything. This is plus Dirk's last year, so I might as well make the
Oh, that's right.
Seeing his last couple games. So
dude,
that's gonna be nice.
The last home game, that ticket is gonna be impossible.
I would assume first and last home game would probably be expensive.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. Vince Carter, the Olympic dunk. I don't even have the player that he dunked over. I mean,
French guy.
Does it matter?
No, I don't think it matters at this point. I'm pretty sure it was a French guy.
Yeah, I believe it was against the French national. Well, the YouTube clip that always pops up for me because it's the best looking one. it was the French. It was the international
Yeah,
broadcast.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it is hilarious. A matter of fact, I might even splice it in the post production. It's hilarious to hear those commentators talk in whatever language it was, French, I'm assuming. And when Vince dunks that ball,
they go crazy.
oh, they go insane. Yeah. And you know what's really funny about that dunk? If Kevin Garnett was just a couple of inches closer, he would have knocked him the fuck out, man.
I've seen that and thought about that myself. I wonder how close he came to hitting him.
So
he almost hit him. I swear he was gonna hit him. Maybe 2 inches closer. He would have been out.
Well, before I forget, he was wearing the Nike Shox BB4. You know, you spoke about the Nike Shox earlier. Well, Vince is maybe
his Shox are different though. His aren't. You can probably tell his Shox are a little different. His are smaller. They're not the thicker Shox that you're used to seeing. At least I don't think so.
Okay.
I think they're smaller. If for what he does, I can see how that might work.
Vince Carter, in my opinion, will go down as one of the bigger missed sneaker opportunities. He did have his own line with the Shox. Really didn't take off, and I think a lot of it had to do with the Shox. I wasn't a fan of.
No, the Shox.
I wasn't a fan of the Shox as far as how they look.
They're very, very uncomfortable. I don't like them. The look of the Shox that the regular running Shox, that's a better look. I don't really care for the basketball.
You know, and obviously, we weren't in tune to the business
at that point in time.
Back then, as we were right now. But it amazes me every time I look at his dunk contest, the 2000 dunk contest. He was wearing the and ones. Like, I can't think of a bigger moment than that. And then like the shoes he was wearing, like they don't match the gravity of the moment.
He's a big player, but he's wearing such a low profile shoe.
Like, I wonder if and one tried to make a run at him.
I'm sure they did. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm pretty sure he wore them for a couple years. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they were trying to do something. But it's and one. I mean, they're more of the street ball.
They're not around anymore, right?
I still see their clothing. I don't know if they're around, but they have to be because Lance Stevenson was wearing them like last year.
Oh, is that right?
I'm pretty sure last time he was with Indiana, he was wearing them.
Okay, and one still doing their thing.
It's the same shoe too. It was the Tai Chi.
Another guy that came to mind really quickly when we were talking about these infamous dunks was Blake Griffin. I mean, next to Vince Carter, I can't think of any other rookie year where the dude was just dunking on everything that got in his way. He was doing
a lot. He had the one that we picked was him. Was very, very recently. I think it's like 2 years ago maybe. When Kobe was still in the league.
Where he dunked over Gasol. He was wearing the Hyper Dunk 2014.
Before he went to Jordan. But even before that, he had a couple. He had one over Perkins. He had a couple.
That's still my favorite one.
He had two against New York.
Yeah.
In the same game too, I think. One was where he was far away from. He threw it in there.
It was a throw in, but it's still nasty.
Dunk. He just threw it in there. Still looked good, but he threw it in there. But then the next one was over Gallinari. I think he was on a fast break, and he actually did like a spin move.
I remember that dunk.
Yeah,
yes,
did like a spin move, and then I think I don't know if it went behind his back, but
no, it was a spin move. I remember now.
And he got the dunk on it, which I thought that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's a hell of a dunk
for how big he was.
It's crazy because I think his first play in the NBA was an alley-oop dunk.
It was
if I'm not mistaken.
A regular dunk. No, if I remember, it wasn't anything special. It was a regular alley-oop.
No, it's just something. But for that, it's just kind of ironic for that one to be to be his first play, and then what he's become. You know, I mean, his legacy and as far as dunking in the game, you know, is second to none.
Jordan picked him up at the best time.
Pretty disappointing dunk contest outing though.
No, I think it was. I wasn't.
I think it was
He had a couple of dunks, but his last dunk I wasn't really too.
Right,
because he jumped over a car. But
he jumped over the hood.
Yeah, he didn't jump over. He jumped over the
don't get me wrong, I wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah,
but you expect a little more from him.
It was the smallest part of the car.
It was a Kia, or was it a Hyundai? It was whoever the hell he sponsors. It was one of those. It was Kia.
Yeah, but still, I mean, it was the hood. It wasn't the biggest part of the car, which I think that would have been impossible. But still, I mean, it was all right.
Would you have been amped up to see him go to Oklahoma City?
Only because he was from Oklahoma. Because he used to play in Midwest City. I think it was Midwest City. used to playing. But I mean,
and then a former OU guy.
Yeah, former OU. I wouldn't have cared. I wouldn't have cared either.
Well, I mean, I think it would have been okay because you lose KD. As of this recording, Russ still hasn't signed his extension. So I think that would have softened the blow a little bit for the hometown boy to come back.
I think it would have, but
I mean,
I don't think a lot of people would have been like, "Oh my God, we got Blake."
Right. Well, our dudes over at the NTTB podcast may have some other opinions, but I don't know. As a guy from on the outside looking in, I think that would have been all right.
It would have been all right, but would have been an all right fit. I don't think so.
Is he another player that deserves his own signature rather than just being part of a brand?
I think he's fine being a part of a brand.
Think he's in the right role?
I think he's fine wearing whatever shoes that Jordan comes out with.
I think you're right, but had they came out with something
even if they
for him,
even in the beginning, I don't think.
You don't think so? When he was dunking on everybody?
I think he would have been fine. I don't think because like when we referenced earlier the top 5 SIGs. I mean, there's 5 people because those people stood out
right
amongst their teams, I guess you can say.
Their peers.
Kyrie, yeah, he got his line when LeBron was there, but I think he didn't stand out until LeBron got there. Mm-hmm. He was good, but he didn't stand out until LeBron got there. Mm-hmm. I think Blake's deal was he always had CP3 like ahead of him. Mm-hmm. I think CP3 was going to shine in front of him regardless of what Blake was going to do.
You mentioned Kyrie, and with him going to Boston, I wonder how much the team a player plays for influences the design of the sneakers. Because, I mean, certain colors don't work on all sneaker designs.
No, they don't. I think it depends. I mean, they do it correctly. I mean, some of Boston's colors they have black in it. I mean, they can incorporate the black with a little bit of green. Sometimes the green, I'm thinking about it now, the green...
That's an odd color,
it really is an odd color. It just keeps it regular black and white.
Because when you think of Jordans, you think of the better colors being red, black.
His team colors.
Right.
Yeah.
And then with LeBron being in Miami, black, red.
Man, I like the Miami color. Well, his Cleveland colors aren't that bad.
They're not that bad.
His best shoes, I think some of his best colorways came when it was with the Heat.
Are you a fan of... this has been a trend here lately, and I've noticed it a lot in LeBron's line. The first shoe, we the OG color, for lack of a better word, not being a team color.
No, I think
like the 13s. I don't know if you remember the LeBron 13s. It was like that maroon color.
The LeBron. It's the team color.
No.
For the Cavs.
No, it was more of I said maroon. It was more of like a purplish color now that I'm thinking about it. Okay, a better example.
I can see what you're saying though.
A better example will be the 12s. I don't know if you remember that first color. It was kind of had like a forest green to it.
Oh yeah,
like an emerald color.
The little Dunk Force ones.
That don't make a shit to you. Kobe 10.
I wish they would.
Kobe 10, that blue color.
Yeah, the 3 a.m.s. Mm-hmm. I wish they would kind of keep it with the team colors. I wonder. Now that you mentioned, I wonder what the thought process is behind that.
I think it's an easy way to sell an odd color. Mm-hmm. That's just my theory.
Out there, people
right?
Buy it.
They'll buy it.
Well, even then, the first couple for Kobe, if I remember, weren't anything team based. Well, no, never mind. He didn't have
the Kobe 10 is such an odd sneaker.
I actually like it. I love it.
Well, I like the Flyknit version. Mm-hmm. I wasn't a big fan of the whatever. I don't even know what they called that other version. Mm-hmm. The first one that came out. Wasn't a big fan of it at all, but then again, it was going to be tough to follow the 9, no matter what they did. Yeah. No matter what they did. Once the Flyknit version started coming out, I started growing to it.
I wouldn't have said it was tough to follow it. I think what made it tough to follow is because they look the same. There's no...
I think there's enough differences.
Not the high top. High tops look pretty much... Well, I guess there's a slight difference, but still...
The high tops was a more minimalist take to it.
Yeah, it was...
Where the 9 had a bunch of carbon fiber, and it was a real busy shoe.
Yeah, but still, I like the original one that came out. I actually love it. The way the soles feel, it was great, and the actual shoe in general feels really good. It's really comfortable on inside too. Mm.
Speaking of LeBron, so we mentioned a handful of LeBron dunks, but we settled on LeBron over Jason Terry, and that one particular year in the playoffs where it was Miami going up against
2010,
Boston. 2010?
No, not 2010. 2012 maybe.
Well, whatever year it was, he was rocking the LeBron 10s.
Yeah, LeBron 10s.
One of my favorite LeBrons.
I didn't like.
You did not like the LeBron 10s?
Like the LeBron 10s. They were too bulky.
Well, like I said earlier, that fit his personality. He's a tank.
I get that. To me, it's just way too... I've seen them in person. They're way too bulky.
The last LeBron to rock Air Max, I believe. I believe he started going to the Zoom cushioning.
The Zoom cushioning.
He started off Zoom because first shoe was called Air Max. Zoom.
It was the visible Zoom Air.
So it was a combo then.
Yeah, it was a visible Zoom Air. It wasn't Air Max. It was visible Zoom Air.
It may have been a combination of both though.
No, I'm pretty...
Because I know they're hyping that on the 15 that it's a combination of Zoom and Air Max, but I believe that's not new to his line.
Sure, his was. I'm pretty sure I think the 10s were the ones at the very first time that they brought out visible Zoom Air.
Okay, you may be right, but
I'm pretty sure because the KD's 6s at the time did the same thing. The Elite version did the same thing.
You're right. Okay,
they had the full length Zoom Air on it too.
Well, so going back to LeBron, he started off Zoom, and then I believe
because the 9s had Air Maxes, I think.
Yes, well, they started with the 7s. Okay. The 7s had Air Max. 8 had Air Max.
My favorite.
9's your favorite LeBron.
9's my favorite. No, 9's and his very first Zoom generation. Those are my favorite ones.
I like the very first Zoom generation. It's cool.
I wish I could get them, but they came out way too expensive.
You're talking about the retro?
When
it's interesting retro, because the OG retailed for $110, I believe.
I believe the retros came out to like $160 or something like that.
So yet another, we were talking about that earlier with the inflated prices.
Well, that's another one that was in high. I think that was in high demand too. I think everybody wanted that shoe to come back out.
So
I think everybody wants the shoe to come. I think everybody wants his shoes to come back out regardless. They want all his. Well, I wouldn't say all his shoes. I'll probably say 9s is probably the most talked about shoe out there.
My favorite LeBron is the 7, and it's my favorite for a couple of reasons. Number one, because I think the design is awesome. Number two, that's when I started really getting into sneaker culture. You know, when that shoe came out, and it was there was a mashup penny that was coming out at the time that was getting a lot of hype.
Yeah,
those were the first 2 shoes that really kind of kicked off my how deep I am into the sneaker game like I am right now. As far as keeping up with it, I mean, I don't buy too many sneakers, but so the 7s are my favorite. Love the number 8s as well because of the 3 different versions. I don't know if you remember that. They had versions. So he started off the season with a regular leather pair. Okay. And then midway through the season, he swapped to a lighter material. And then for the playoffs, it was all hyperfuse.
I didn't know that.
It was one of the first, times that I remember them doing something like that for a shoe. And then when the 9s came around, that's when they started doing the elites for the playoffs and whatnot.
I like the 9. I like the 9 in general. Just I don't know what it is. 9s just look really good.
It's a clean. It's a clean shoe.
Every colorway he came out, I mean, he had all kinds of really good colorways. South Beach colorway was really nice.
Right.
I don't know if you knew about the Watch of Thrones.
Yes, yeah. I remember that color. Yeah.
I don't think it was commercial though. I think it was like an elite pair of shoes that you're going to get in so many places.
It was one of those limited releases. Yeah,
a rare shoe. I've only seen big sneaker, bloggers and sneaker collectors have them.
Do we need to hit up a sneaker con or something when it comes to
Dallas?
There
was one here not too long ago.
No shit.
Yeah, it was in. Is it in Dallas? I don't know. It's a guy that comes into our store. He was telling me about it. It was just here. I never heard of it. At least none of the ones.
They're all called different things.
They're all the only ones I know are like the big sneaker con ones or like there was like Kicklacoma or something like that.
That Perfect Pair does.
Yeah, the one that Perfect Pair does. I always do the ones that he does.
Okay.
I'm on Instagram and I follow him, so I kind of
so do I.
I kind of see which ones he's going to. Or I don't know if you do Jumpman Bostic. He's a big Jordan guy.
Yes. Matter of fact, I've seen some of his YouTube videos.
Yeah, I do. I'm following him. I do follow Fulmer. Simpson. I do like him. And I also
what, man? Here lately, I love the older stuff a lot more than his newer stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand why he had to go the direction that he's going now, but I hate the clickbait style that they're going to with their thumbs. Have you noticed it? Where
I actually haven't watched any of his videos recently.
Okay, so so he's done videos on the Air Jordan 32 and the LeBron 15. The thumbnail of the video is him holding the shoe. It's clickbait. He doesn't have the shoe. I can't stand that shit, man. Yeah. But the way but they style it to where it looks like he's holding it. And I'm like, man, I would have clicked on the video anyways.
Yeah.
You don't need to deceive me like that, man.
I've seen the videos I've seen back in the day. I love the way
love him. That's what hooked me to his style because I loved how he talked about the sneaker and the metaphors the cocaine laces and
the way he said his things were pretty hilarious.
Right.
I did love that.
The Mufasa lace locks.
What was the one that he always?
One of the funniest ones he did.
He would just say, he'd be like, very nice, very nice.
Very nice, very nice. Nice teams. But now one of my favorite videos was actually him breaking down a pair of it was the Prelude pack, Kobe 6. And there was all sorts of designs and shit going on in that shoe. I mean, he had me crying, man. It was crazy.
And then I do also do who's the other guy? Jock Slade.
I heard of him.
Or I think he goes by Cousteau.
Yes.
I think that's his handle. And he does a lot of Nike stuff.
Man, could you got a pretty big sneaker collection?
Yeah.
It's not obviously up there with the sneaker
like,
bloggers, but for like a regular dude,
for me, it's not bad.
How many pairs you got?
I think last time I counted was 95.
95,
and that's with Converse. I included too.
Right, that's everything.
So, I started off at 20 before I got to Nike.
Okay.
And it was all Jordans. That's all I had was Jordans. And then when I finally left Nike and came to Converse, and then I ended up getting some Converses too. So 95. So ever since I started working for the company, I've bought 70-something shoes.
But some of them were given though.
Some of them, yeah, you get them because you get staff dress and whatnot. So obviously, but you have a price point. You can't go out.
Are they all in their boxes? Because
I have all the boxes.
But I've given you a few pairs though that don't have boxes.
Those are in crates.
But are they within the 95?
Yeah, those are part of 95 too. I count those. If I don't count those, what is that? Like, probably like 10. So probably like 85 then. I've gotten for myself.
So what does that look like in your closet or closets?
It's just it's in the second bedroom. It's my daughter's room, but she doesn't have a closet because the whole top area of the closet is completely covered from wall to wall. And then I also have my actual closet. One of the top areas is covered by mine.
And these are all sneakers. These aren't dress shoes.
No dress shoes. I don't count the dress shoes. These are literally all Converses and Nike shoes.
All right, so 95 is a big number.
It's not. Yeah,
it's a big, but it's a fraction compared to what some of these
compared to what
people like. Could you? I don't know if I could ever do that.
I don't know. I can do what I
even if I was a millionaire. I don't know if I could ever have that many
that's
shoes.
different though. I don't know. Are you
serious?
I probably would do honestly.
Really?
There's shoes that I see on a daily basis. That
but here's the thing. Here's why I don't think I could ever be like that. Because I like wearing shoes.
No, I wear all mine. I really
There's
do.
no way you're going to be able to wear. There's only 365 days in a year.
I honestly do try to wear all my shoes. Now that we don't go out, I can't. Now that we have a daughter, that's probably the only time I can't go and wear my shoes. So yeah.
What does that have to do with anything?
Well, because at that point in time, whenever we do go out, I really try to wear something that's more comfortable than
Dude, wait till she starts walking and all they want to do is step on your feet.
True. I mean, I can wear any of my nice stuff, but whenever we were younger and we weren't, pregnant at the time, and we were able to go out every so often because we had the money and whatnot. I wear a different shirt every time we go out. I mean, and the main reason why I say I do wear it because when I was at Nike, I can wear whatever shoe I wanted. I wasn't stuck wearing one pair of shoes. So obviously, Nike is what got most of my rotation in there.
I would have a few pair. I'm not going to sit here and say I won't have. I mean, because I don't know how many I got. I'll
definitely have the whole Jordan collection.
I want to say I got over 20 pairs of shoes, and that might be give or take a few here and there. I don't know if I could do what some of these bloggers do, man. That's a lot of shoes.
They have close to thousands and whatnot. I can't do that, but I mean, could I say I could have maybe 200? Yeah, I can probably do 200 because a lot of those shoes wouldn't be anything. Hype related. It's shoes that I would actually wear. Shoes that are comfortable. Shoes that just look good in general. I mean, that's kind of what I go for.
What shoe do you have the most pairs of? For me, it's the Lunarlon Flyknit. I got 3 pairs of those, and then I also have 3 pairs of the Kobe Mentality 1.
Honestly, I think it's Jordan 1s.
Really?
I have 5. I'm pretty sure.
5 pairs.
I have 4 high tops and a low top.
Okay.
I have low top. The only low top I have, Jordan 1 East. I don't know the name. I think it was East something. East, I don't know, whatever it is. It was a collection that had East, West, South, North. Mine's the East one. It's white, green. I have like the Brooklyn. I think that's like a map of Brooklyn or something on the shoe, or something. It has something to do with like New York and like the East Coast. Then I have the high top, black and red. The original high top, white and black. The OG Laney colors, blue and yellow.
That's the high school he went to.
Yeah, the high school he went to. I got those at a clearance store for like $74. And then I got a white and Carolina blue leather, patent leather front. We just happened to get it at Nike one day. I got those.
What's your best cop outside of the Nike store or your time working with Nike?
Probably my Concord 11. Not Concord 11.
Well, let me be more specific. As far as price, like the best deal you got on a shoe.
Probably the my 11s, my red 11s.
Have you ever had a dope Ross pickup? That's a big thing now. The dope Ross. I've had a couple. I had
an employee that bought some pennies. And it was like really, I forgot which ones were, but it was one of his good pairs for like $40-something at Ross.
My best Ross pickup, and this was the Ross in Lawton, Oklahoma.
Second, I can't find
was my Nike waffle. I don't know what the hell they're called, waffle racers or whatever. I didn't even know what the fuck they were. I had no idea this was an old retro shoe. I had no idea. This was before I was into sneakers like I am today. That was my best Ross pickup right there.
Really?
Yeah, I think they were like $30, and I still got them to this day. I still wear them.
Some guy was telling me something I always see at Converse. He always comes in there. He claims he's got over a crazy amount of shoes. He says you can't go to the urban Rosses. You got to go to the high end areas.
Okay.
Where there's a Ross. That's where he says that's where the good pickups are at. That's where most people don't know what they're looking at. Because the urban areas, obviously, they know,
that makes a lot of sense.
They know their stuff. You go to the higher end places, they're probably not going to know what that shoe is.
All right, so continuing our little list here, we also have Michael Jordan, which, I mean, he has plenty of dunks we could have picked from, but his most famous dunk is the dunk over Patrick Ewing in the whatever year that was, playoffs.
I think it was 91.
In the infrared sixes. You know, the Jordan 6 is such an interesting Jordan. It was the first championship. And as far as what I've seen online, it seems like he preferred those black infrared sixes. Like you don't see a whole lot of pictures of him wearing the white color or the carmines.
I don't know about it. Well, I've seen a lot of the carmines.
Really, in game?
I think probably seen one, not like a whole. I wouldn't say a whole bunch. But
I always tend to see him rocking the black.
I do see the black more than anything else, but because the black goes with his uniform. I would probably assume the NBA rules have something to do with that too.
You know, and again, another story that you can appreciate. I remember when the Sixes first came out, and they were just, again, like they came from outer space, man. Yeah.
And wasn't it the last one to rock the air on the back?
Yes, it was the last.
The Sevens did it.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I hate with a passion retro 3, 4, 5s, and 6 that have a Jordan logo, Jumpman logo instead of Nike Air. What's your stance on that?
For me, I guess that doesn't matter. But I guess if I wanted my shoe to stand out more amongst anything else, I guess I probably would prefer the Air.
Well,
but for me, it doesn't matter because I didn't grow up in that. I didn't grow up with those shoes in my mind to go get. So for me,
maybe that's what it is. For
me, I'm used to just seeing a Jumpman logo.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe since I grew up at an age where I still have memories from, I was 8, 9, 10 years old around that time. So maybe that's what it is. So the Jumpman.
Most people that I always talk to are the ones that grew up with the Air in the back.
And listen, I was so proud of the fact that, and man, I think I even gave them to you. My 3s with the Nike Air on them, my 6s with the Nike Air on them, my 5s with the Nike Air on them.
Which, sadly enough, those broke.
The sole finally gave out.
Yeah, First day I wore them, they shattered.
Well, I tell you what. How long ago was that?
This was probably my third year. No, yeah, my third year Nike.
Okay, so about 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, that's not too bad. I mean, because I got that shoe in the early 2000s.
The tongue says 2000. I think the tongue says 2000.
Okay.
Maybe 2001. But still, I mean, I wore them once. That's the reason why I don't wear the rest of them. And now they're just collectors. Those are just collector shoes.
Right.
Because I don't know what's going to happen to the...
Because the sixes were in bad shape when I gave them to you.
Yeah, they're already kind of cracking. I have 3 pairs that actually broke on me. So the 5s, the sole just cracked, completely cracked. Like the air bubble is now visible. You can see it. You also sold me the...
I ain't sell you those. I just gave them to you.
No, you got those games. You sold me the 16s. Both 16s.
I sold them?
Yeah, black and red pair.
I had to have given you a good deal on those.
$50 each. Those were... The black
Yeah,
16.
what an asshole. I sold you some shoes.
The thing is that the black and red 16s, I think those broke down because I just wore the crap out of them, though. Because I actually love that pair.
The 16s were a great pair.
They were good.
That was a good pair.
Them. And I just wore the crap out of them. Then you also sold me the 16 lows, the white and red pair. With
that's right.
With the eyelid flipped up and down.
Right, the convertible.
And the same thing with that one. I wore them to death, and then the sole broke on those two. So
next up on our list, keeping it with the Knicks and the Bulls, John Starks. I hate when they say he dunked over Michael Jordan. When you look at a picture, Jordan is damn near on the other side of the baseline, man. He dunked over Horace Grant, but he dunked on him wearing the Air Ballistic Force. I would have never have known that had it not been for the internet.
And I'm just saying, I don't know if
I'm pretty sure
I don't even know how that shoe looks.
I'm pretty sure that it looked like a regular flight shoe. That was my guess was a Nike Air Flight.
Yeah,
because it kind of looked like that design language from the early '90s. I'm pretty sure the tech in that shoe is god awful. Maybe a little Air Max bag.
They've gotten better since then. So,
you know what's another thing about that dunk, that there's no impact to that dunk.
it's just he was small.
It's a good dunk. Don't get me wrong, but I don't put it up there as high as other people put it because it didn't have any impact.
I just think because it was a person.
Right.
It was John Stark. He was a point guard. You don't see him dunk every so often.
I wonder, and I'm sure there's video of him describing that moment, but that shit must have gone in slow motion for him.
Oh, he must have been living the dream at that point.
Oh, yeah. That, like, stop it right there.
Yeah, this is it.
The highlight of his career, it's as if they won, like, maybe winning the championship might feel a little bit better.
A little better, yeah. It's kind of like, because I think he's the same as like Nate. Whenever Nate dunks, it's the same. It's just because Nate's small, so it just looks good.
Man, I think he's in that Uncle Drew. Did you know Uncle Drew? They were making a movie on Uncle Drew.
I didn't know they were making a movie until I saw it on. I think I just happened to like Google. I think I was trying to look at one of his old like commercials, and I saw it.
Yeah, so it's Nate, it's Reggie Miller,
Shaq's
Shaq.
in it, yeah.
I don't think Charles Barkley's in it. Obviously, Kyrie.
Yeah.
That's going to be pretty interesting.
Interesting.
We got a recent one here. I mean, this was this past season. I thought it should have been Dunk of the Year. I forget who was it that was doing the countdown. I forget if it was the actual NBA. They had Victor Oladipo as the Dunk of the Year, and it was a nice dunk, but not as good as Larry Nance over
dunk.
The Victor Oladipo dunk. Man, I couldn't tell you. It was he was coming from the 3-point line, and it was a good dunk. He was coming from the 3-point line, and he moved his body in a way that it was a cool dunk, but not better than Larry Nance over Brook Lopez. That was the Dunk of the Year. And then you Googled what he was wearing, and it shocked the shit out of me. The Adidas.
I thought he was wearing Nike too. But,
no, I knew it was Adidas. But for whatever reason, I thought it was crazy explosive. It wasn't. It was the Adidas D Rose 773.
Yeah.
Who the hell would have ever known?
Google. That's the only place that knows. So that was interesting though. I mean, it's an alright shoe. It's a decent shoe.
It's all right. I mean, it's not one of the better Adidas that I could personally think of.
No, I think I've seen better Adidas. I do like the Crazy 8s are pretty nice.
Let's talk about the emergence of Adidas over the last 2-3 years. Obviously, Boost has a lot to do with that. In my opinion, the Ultra Boost is one of the. I'm talking about the Ultra Boost running shoe, one of the greatest sneakers ever made. The moment you leave Nike, that's the first shoe I'm buying. I mean, I love that shoe. So it's been pretty cool seeing them come back up, back to prominence. I don't know
how much of it is the Boost rather than saying Kanye.
Oh no, Boost. Boost.
I think Kanye was probably the bigger factor though.
No, I got to disagree with you 100%, man. The Boost tech. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Kanye did shine a light on Adidas.
Yeah.
And I like the Kanye shoes. I mean, I'm not saying
I don't like any of his shoes.
I like them. So you don't like the low top Yeezy Boost?
I don't like any of his shoes.
Wow, that's crazy, man.
The shoes didn't start looking good. His two shoes Nike look way better than what he has now. Way better.
Now I gotta disagree. The low top Yeezy Boosts are easily the best shoes ever associated with Kanye West.
I don't know.
What do you think? Okay. Well, obviously, I should know the answer to this question. You've seen his latest running shoe?
It looks like a Monarch.
Type
in Nike Monarch. That's what it looks like.
I tell you what, man. I've heard of a lot of shoes that
terrible.
I've heard of a lot of shoes that it was compared to. I got to be honest. Monarch was not one of them.
It looked like a Monarch. It looks like the Pete Carroll shoes. What they look like.
Well, listen, it's been getting flamed. I mean, and I defend it. I think it's a cool looking shoe. Do I think it's great? Would I personally rock it? No. I would do a few tweaks to it. It would take a few tweaks before I could see myself rocking it. But I don't think it's the worst thing ever. Now, do I think it's fucking ridiculous he wants to charge $300 for it? I mean, yeah, of course. You can flame the shit out of that. Speaking of $300 shoes that were flaming, Big Baller Brand, what's your take?
Looks like a Nike.
But it's okay.
But besides all that, I mean, I don't like the price tag. I mean, that's just from a casual person that tries to buy shoes every so often. If the price tag's not giving me to buy it. The look of the shoe looks all right. I'm gonna say it looks
the Z01 or the Mellows. Which one? Because I don't
like either one.
I think the Z01 looks fucking terrible.
They both look terrible. That's just me though.
The Mellow one looks okay, and a lot had to do with it looking similar to one of the rare metals from Brand Black. But
I honestly, they both look terrible. I've seen the Z01s in the game whenever he was wearing them. I would say one thing: the home colorways were not doing it justice though. The white and purple.
I don't think any color's gonna do it. It's a terrible
black
looking
is the
shoe.
only thing that would make it look decent, but his home colorways were not making it look any better.
I was really surprised that they put out pre-orders for the not Mellow. What the hell is his name? LaMelo. Prior to the Z01s even coming out. Like, I don't know. I think they should have waited to see how that launch, because people we tend to forget because everything moves so fast nowadays. The Z01 still haven't came out yet. No, they haven't been shipped yet. So I was, one would think, hey, let's see how this launch goes before we put out another product. I was really surprised about that.
He's just trying to get. I think he's banking on the fact that their names are going to sell it. I think that's what he's banking on.
We'll see. I mean, we talked Fomer earlier. He bought a pair, so.
Did he really?
Yeah, he bought a pair, so I guess we'll
see what he says.
I guess we'll see what he says. Yeah. Gerald Green. You wanted to mention Gerald Green. I just simply wrote down his name. I forgot what dunk specifically it was.
A windmill dunk off the fast break when he was with the
Boston.
Nets.
You said.
No, he was with the Nets.
Oh, he was with the Nets. Okay,
it was against Houston.
Okay, and I'm remembering this dunk. His head
he literally was eye level with the rim.
He had some nasty. Did he win a dunk contest, or he went far in them?
He did. No, I think he won. He won one. He's been far in a couple. I think pretty sure he's won one. I think the one he won when he was with Boston.
He had some hops. Is he still in the league?
He still plays.
With who?
And the last time he played, I think it was last year with the Heat.
Okay.
He's actually not that bad. He's just more of a bench player though. But he's not that bad. I think they're just relying on his hops for more than anything else.
So he was wearing the Concord 11s in this particular dunk. It goes without saying, Concord 11s. The 11s just period.
In general is a good,
one of the greatest shoes ever. again, you can appreciate the story. I've been saying that a lot.
Yeah.
I remember when the 11s first came out, and once again, unlike anything else that was out there, that's what was so great about Jordan back then. I mentioned earlier, I'm so glad to see them making this little comeback. Really since the 28, in my opinion. Small hiccup with the 30, but they've picked it back up with the 31, 32, leading innovation. The 11s back in the day, man, out of this world.
I think that is one pair of shoes that I would like to get, though, is the Conchords. Low or high, doesn't matter to me. Well, I guess high because it's the originals.
It's one of the rare.
I would probably rather do the lows.
One of the rare Jordans that you just cut the top off and it works as a low.
Yeah, it does work. I prefer the lows, but I mean, if you want to do the originals, I guess the high tops will be the better buy. But I mean, I actually prefer the low tops.
I actually like the. They call them the IEs, the international version. I like that version a lot too, man.
I want that one. I want the there's which one is it? The referee one?
The all black ones.
The all black look good. They actually had the cobalt.
I know which ones you're talking about.
The
yeah,
blue with
the
like
blue.
a little bit of blue. That came out. People were going crazy at work about them. What's another pair that I like, man?
Going back to the low patent leathers though. You know that was an OG shoe, not released to the public. No. If you Google it, Jordan wore a pair. I want to say the breads and low tops. He wore them in a game.
Then he wore them to. He wore the Concord though to the ring ceremony.
The lows, yes.
Yes, he wore that to the ring ceremony.
He wore one pair during a game, the breads, if I'm not mistaken.
You know that.
And then yes, and like you pointed out, he did wear the low Concords. Pretty cool. You know, everyone wants to talk.
He's got them before. Way before anybody
exactly.
else had
Everyone wants to talk about shit they got that no one else got.
He's got something no one's
Michael
got.
Jordan.
Yeah, he's got something before anybody else has got him.
Right.
It was just like probably the third ring he had. So years before the low top team, because I remember I got the snake skins from Chris.
Shout out to Chris one more time.
Yeah, he's done a lot actually. 2002, I think I got the snake skins.
So the Conchords or Space Jams, which one is more?
For me, it's the Space Jams.
Space Jams.
And Conchords because it's the originals, but I think the Space Jams are probably harder to get.
Right. I mean, I think as far as hype beasts, I think the Space Jams
it'd probably be the better one. Shout out to you because I got a Space Jam from you.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I did give you the Space Jams.
One of those a couple times. Got a lot of head turns.
But they were the reason why I gave those. I mean, besides the fact that I was, phasing the high tops away from my collection, those weren't comfortable for me.
I couldn't actually. The funny story, I couldn't actually fit them. I take the
what
soles,
size were they?
They're my size, but I take the soles out in order to wear them.
Really?
I take the soles out in order to wear them.
I'm trying to
way
think
too
here.
tight. To me, they're way because you got
They may have been 10 and a half.
You gave me two. I got the Columbias and the Space Jams.
They may have been 10 and a half because back.
I think it was 10 and a half.
In the early 2000s,
I can wear either one, but I had to take the soles out in order to actually wear them comfortably.
In the early 2000s, I was still rocking a 10 and a half, and then I just settled
I got the
on 11.
Columbias, and then I got the Space Jams, and then I got Space Jam, and then I got the low top red. Another
interesting tidbit on the Jordan 11. I believe this is correct. First time the cool gray color debuted on a shoe. That's a color that's famous, world famous now.
The 9s didn't do it?
Not first. I think the 11 was first. 9s did it, and the latest Jordan to get the cool gray treatment was the 8s.
Yeah, the 8s got them.
Which I saw in person.
Those actually look pretty good.
Not bad. And I'm not a huge 8 fan. Like, I actually despise the 8, to be quite honest. I despise them in any form, but the cool gray works on it.
I'm kind of mad. We were in Austin. Prior to second year, we were living in Austin. We needed some money. I actually gave up my low 8s.
What color were they?
The playoff 8s.
And now that I'm thinking of it,
I regret it now.
And now that I'm thinking of it, we talked shoes that did not come out in team colors. The original 8s. They came out with that aqua color.
Oh, the aqua 8 too.
And he wore them at the All-Star game. The only time he ever wore that shoe. Yeah, in game, that was the only time he wore the shoe was at the All-Star game that year.
I wonder why they came out with aquas.
Just trying something new back then, I guess.
So they've redone that shoe with all kinds of colors, and I can't stand it now.
Like, at what point do you think like, this is too far? Like when the color has nothing to do with the team.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with the team. They just now come up with all kinds of stuff. Like they had the 3-peat 8s.
Oh, I can't stand it when they try to come up. Like the next one that's coming out is the Fadeaway 7. It's an all red. Okay, so when I clicked on the thumbnail, Fadeaway 7, the clickbait is what I like to call the headlines, the clickbait. This shoe was inspired from one of MJ's most famous moves, and it was his fadeaway jumper, right? And all red. What the fuck does red have to do with a fadeaway jump shot?
It's an all red.
It's an all red. And then the 6s came out. They called it like the Saturday Night Live 6s because it was the color of the jacket he wore in one of his Saturday Night Live appearances.
Is that recently?
Yeah, this was it's recent. I don't know if it's been released yet.
Okay.
But as far as when I saw it, it was recent. But when they come up with colors like that, that's just retarded.
No, I think they go way too far. The 3-peats were based off the shoes that he wore when he 3-peated. You know, when he beat the Suns and that's a 3-peat. Yeah, like Suns.
So what was it, like a mixture of all three colors? I can't think of this.
It's supposed to be a mixture of all three teams that he beat.
The
first time around.
The teams that he beat, their colors.
It's their colors.
Gotcha,
The Phoenix Suns are on there, but I'm trying to figure out who's the third, because he beat the Lakers, the Suns.
He beat Lakers, Portland, and Phoenix.
See, I don't see how Portland's in there.
White, black, red.
I guess it's white and black, but the main colors are black. But the ones that pop out are
probably the Lakers.
It's a purple, and there's like a goldish orangey kind of color, which is for the Suns.
All right, so your favorite Jordan retro color that has nothing to do with the OG colors, nothing to do with his team colors. Favorite non-OG color, any model, it don't matter. I'm gonna go with the cool gray.
I mean, yeah, cool gray is nice,
especially when it's on a patent leather. That cool gray works so well on patent leather.
I'm trying to figure out. There's been some other ones that I actually like.
Have you seen? Speaking of ridiculous retros, I actually kind of like these. The 9s that they retro to make it look like a baseball glove. They were actually kind of flamed by a few people online. When you get a chance, look it up.
Was it the texture though, or just the colors?
It was the webbing. It was the webbing of the glove, the lacing. So it was the panels of the shoe. I thought it looked all right. I liked it a lot. I thought it was a really interesting concept.
Go and see. The Baron colorway is pretty nice. When he used to play for the baseball team. Okay. It's just that it's a white, black, and like a gray color. Mm-hmm. That's pretty nice. He's got him on the I believe he's got him on the 9s. Is it the 9s? 9s. I want to say there's two of them that he's got him on. I think the one's got him. One's got them all. One's got every freaking color out there you can think of.
So I'm going with the cool gray, but coming in at number 2, I forget what the name of the color was, but it was one of the trophy room. His son, Marcus Jordan, he has that shoe store trophy room. I believe it was one of the colors they did for the 23s. It was like at a glance, it might look like a North Carolina, not North Carolina, I'm sorry, Charlotte Hornets color. Yeah. It's kind of like an emerald blue color.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's one of the main ones that came out.
I mean, just a beautiful shoe. The 23 is beautiful,
the 23
regardless. You know, probably easily one of my top 3 Jordans of all time. But that color was so beautiful, man.
Yeah, it's not. He's got some. Or I want to say they've made some really good like colors. But I wish they would just, like I said, like we said before. I wish they would just keep it with his team colors. You know, just the red, white, and black. I'm cool with those.
You can't go wrong with those 3 colors right there.
Don't need anything else.
And last but not least, we wanted to limit this to 10. And listen, man, we could have. There's millions of dunks we could have. I mean, these just here in the moment as we were talking, these were just the ones that happened to pop up in our minds. Shaquille O'Neal bringing down the backboard in his rookie season against the Nets, rocking his Reebok Shaq Attack 1. One of the very few times Reebok hit it out of the park with a shoe.
Well, yeah, those. The Shaq Gnosis are pretty good.
And their most famous is obviously the Question.
And then they got the Iverson series. But no, yeah, he's got some decent stuff. I wouldn't say anything. His own line though, I don't like it.
No, we don't even count that.
His own line bites too many other shoes.
Well, it's a budget.
Yeah.
It's a budget line. You know, I mean,
So.
there's a place for it. You know, there are kids out there that just can't afford.
Yeah, they need
the high end stuff. So there's a place for it. But with that being said, we can still say it sucks.
No, I don't really have anything else to say about his shoes. They are what they are. They're Reebok. This is what it is. I mean, I'm biased just because I work for Nike.
Sure,
so.
yeah. I mean, we're both Nike guys. I think the Shaq Attack one, like I said, it was one of the few times Reebok really got a shoe right. It fit his personality, and his logo was dope. It was his name, which was one of the first times I personally remember someone's name being the logo, and great looking shoe. And it's a shoe that they can do nowadays, and with some of the colors they've been doing here lately, that I remember an LSU color looking really nice on that model.
Wouldn't be not bad. Yeah.
But like I said, you know what? Between the two, I think the question is probably the most famous Reebok.
I mean, Iverson just made it big.
But a lot of people love the second shoe though. The Answer.
That's the one with the toe block.
I hated the Answer. It was the one that had another fad that these sneaker companies, in addition to trying to cover the laces outright, they also
the one with the zipper.
No. Those were either the 3 or the 4s.
Okay.
But okay, so they're not covering the laces per se, but they designed a shoe in a manner where you don't see the lace loops.
Okay.
Think Jordan 15, where you look at the panel, you look at the side panel of the shoe, you don't see the lace loops. And the Answer ones.
I think I'm talking about now. Yeah.
I was not a fan of that shoe right there.
No, the question was better.
Question was much better.
I remember the question, and I remember I guess the third one, because Michael used to have them. He had a pair of those. The one with the zipper. That's the ones
it was the fourth one. The third ones were nothing to write home about. But the third ones actually shared a lot of similarities with the fourth one. The fourth one, a lot of people recognize that shoe because it was the shoe he was wearing when he stepped over Tyronn Lue.
Yeah, true.
That was the shoe he was wearing in that famous moment right there.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not He's had some pretty decent stuff.
But after the 4s,
no, he kind of went downhill from there. But
you talk about a ton of signature lines throughout the history. A lot of these lines, 1, 2 good looking shoes,
and the rest
of them, which just makes you appreciate your Jordans, LeBrons, Kobe's. Matter of fact, now that I'm thinking about it, and I might have to do some research on it to make sure I'm correct, but I think LeBron is the second longest signature line out there at 15. MJ's obviously number 1. LeBron's number 2, and then Kobe number 3. I can't think of any other signature line that goes that deep.
Melo's up there. I don't know if you want.
Yeah, Melo. But
he's up there. I'm pretty sure he's at 14 or 15 himself.
Dude, what do you think's going on here? What's your take on all this shit going on here lately with Melo and how low they're ranking them?
I just think he's starting to get. I think it's with him in New York. He's gotten a bad rap in New York. I'm sure that's had something to do with it.
But they got Lonzo Ball ranked ahead. It's the ESPN rankings that we're talking about here.
Everybody, from what everybody's saying, everybody likes Lonzo. They all think that he's going to have.
But I'm saying, how can you rank him ahead of a guy with a proven history?
He's got a proven history, but you're looking at it like now. I mean, I'm sure that I don't agree with it, but I'm sure they're looking at it now. Lonzo being younger and Melo. And listen, not doing what LeBron's doing.
And listen, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know enough to say,
I'm
hey, this is where I think Melo goes. But even the little bit that I know, I can't see Melo being 63.
No, I can't.
And being behind a rookie.
You can't.
And then I saw another countdown. This was when I was at the gym yesterday. I believe it was, maybe it's the same count, and maybe it's the same ranking, ESPN, where they had Chris Paul 6 and Harden 7. Explain that to me. How can you have Chris Paul ahead of the guy who was neck and neck in the MVP race?
I mean, there's all kinds of reasons behind it. Chris Paul he's a true point guard. He brings more to the table. Harden, he did do what
but
Russell was doing. He did.
Okay. So you said Chris Paul's a true point guard and all this good stuff. So what are these rankings based on? What they've done lately, or
I'm assuming some of them had to do with what they've done in their past. I'm sure that had some of that to do with what they're doing right now. I mean, Harden didn't really blow up until about two years ago.
But here's what I'm saying. Like, in my opinion, we're talking about rankings going into a season, right? Mm-hmm. So that tells me these rankings. If we're going
to go into a season, then I would assume that Chris Paul.
So that tells me
a little more valuable than Harden.
No, you see, I disagree. Hold on. Let me finish my point. These are rankings going into the next to this upcoming season. Mm-hmm. So that tells me these rankings are somewhat based on what they've done lately, as in last season. Mm-hmm. And Harden had the better season between the two. How can he be ranked ahead?
Probably had a better season, but I think you gotta add the valuable part to it. I think Paul's a little more valuable. He's going to be the point guard. He's going to be the one leading the team. He's going to be running the floor. I think in that sense, yeah. But at the same time, I don't think the Clippers would have been where they're at without him.
No. I'm not denying that, but okay.
I mean, Houston wouldn't be where they're at either without Harden. So
and to your point, Houston was already good without Chris Paul.
True, they were, but I think that he adds a little more. He adds a little more value to it.
There was once a time where Chris Paul was playing in Oklahoma City.
There was.
Let that sit in. Let that settle in, man.
Yeah. He was almost traded to Lakers until he got vetoed.
That's a trade that's still talked about to this day. That
one is that when they're gonna get Dwight Howard too?
No. This is they ended up getting Paul Gasol.
Oh, they ended up getting Pound.
They ended up, if I'm not mistaken, I might be completely wrong.
It was I could have sworn that's when they were trying to get Dwight. I could be wrong too. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out because he's been with the Clippers for a while, so then never mind.
And we're fixing to wrap it up here. To go back to what we were talking about earlier, as far as sneaker legacy, we agreed 24 Kobe being greater than number 8 Kobe. Mm-hmm. But what about legacy on court? Which one do you sway towards, 8 or 24?
24, that's the only one that I remember.
A lot of people say number 8 because of the 3 championships with Shaq.
His stats, I guess. Well, his stats actually look better when he was 24. His rings look better when he was with 8.
But
he's got one more ring.
But you see, I'm with you in that I still say 24 was the... You slice his career in half. In my opinion, 24 Kobe.
I remember most of his accomplishments.
Well, it's when he became the Mamba.
Yeah,
I don't know if we were calling him the Mamba when he was with Shaq. I don't remember.
I'm sure the name was probably talked about, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't set until 24 came around. Because I don't remember him when he was really with 24. I remember him from the beginning, but I really only remember him when he was doing his top things when he was wearing number 24.
Right.
He dropped 81 when he was 24. He dropped 61 in his last game. He was 24. That's what I remember. I don't remember anything else.
His sneakers started becoming bigger and better when he was 24. And I agree. And I also think, man, Kobe's career is actually very interesting when you look at it because he comes straight out of high school, walks into an awesome situation with Shaquille O'Neal and the Lakers, and they struggle. Mm-hmm. They become what they become. 3-peat. Went to 4 straight finals. They lost out on that last finals. Mm-hmm. Shaq leaves town, finds success before Kobe went in with Dwayne Wade. And then Kobe rebuilds himself, rebuilds his image, his brand, puts together a couple championships. It's a hell of a career, man.
I think did he win an MVP? Because if he did, he won it when he was 24. I remember seeing the stats on Instagram. I think they were saying he had all NBA teams and maybe 2 more when he was 24. I think he wanted to say that he had maybe more All-Stars when he was 24. The rings were 2. I want to say there was an MVP. I don't know if it was MVP.
It was 2008 when he won the MVP. He was 24.
So he was 24. So then, I think 24 is when he came out of the shadows, I guess you can say.
Career didn't end. Probably not in the
best
in the way he would wanted his career to end. But what about that last game, though?
I actually watched the last game. It was actually pretty crazy when he was putting up the 61 points.
He caught a lot of shit for that. But man, fuck it. It's his last game. Like,
it's the last game.
Yeah,
I think if you're watching, you can kind of see why he was getting all kinds of crap for it. He was tossing up everything left and right.
But you know what? Listen, but you know what? That night, that is what the people paid to see.
Yeah, they wanted to see him go out, and he went out. He went out with a bang. So, 61 points. You can't go out any other play. You can't go anywhere better than that. 61 points.
Cool, man. Well, hey, we're gonna go out with a bang ourselves here. We're gonna wrap it up over 2 hours. Mostly on sneakers. That's not bad. And we can go another 2 hours, I think.
We can.
We can go all day. So we'll definitely do it again, man. So, man, appreciate you taking the time to hang out with me and chop it up here on the OSC Podcast Network.